The Senate will please come to order. This morning, it is my pleasure to welcome for today's devotional exercise, the Great Reverend from the Waterbury Congregational Church. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, thank you. I don't know about great, I'll take Reverend. I watched last night, as I hope and presume many of you did as well, the events memorializing last year's January 6th at the nation's capital. And it was a reminder, if we needed it, that extremism is an ongoing problem. But how to face the problem is quite difficult. I am reminded of this in various editorials I've read lately by physicians asking us not to play the blame game and scold people for not getting vaccinations, which reminds me in turn of the theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, who, with regard to preaching, said mere exhortations to love are on the whole irrelevant for changing anything. But then I consider the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who, while imprisoned in the Birmingham City Jail, heard word that his white clergy colleagues thought him an extremist. He writes, "I must admit that I was initially disappointed in being so categorized. But as I continued to think about the matter, I gradually gained a bit of satisfaction from being considered an extremist. Was not Jesus an extremist in love? Love your enemies, bless them that curse you, pray for them that despitefully use you. Was not Amos an extremist for justice? Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Was not Martin Luther an extremist? Here I stand, I can do no other, so help me God. Was not John Bunyan an extremist? I will stay in jail to the end of my days before I make a butchery of my conscience. Was not Abraham Lincoln an extremist? This nation cannot survive half slave and half free. Was not Thomas Jefferson an extremist? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. The question," King concludes, "is not whether we will be extremist, but what kind of extremist will we be?" I won't be so bold as to answer that question for him or for you, but I will suggest that we could do no worse than look to Thomas Jefferson again, his 1777 Statute of Religious Freedom in the Virginia Constitution, where he said that truth has nothing to fear unless, shorn of its own natural defenses, open and genuine debate. That's a kind of extremism we can all engage in, no matter our politics or our religion, because that means that we can have conversation and meet conversation with inquiry and not with flagpoles or fire extinguishers. So extreme peace to you, my friends, as you engage in your ongoing debates. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. That was very much great. Much appreciated. Are there any announcements this morning? Seeing none, hearing none, we have 15 Senate bills for introduction, including a committee bill. S-207, an act relating to creating the Zero Excuse Warranty Act, introduced by Senators Brock, Balint, Collmore, Ingalls, and Terenzini. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-207, an act relating to creating the Zero Excuse Warranty Act.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. S-208, an act relating to fair disclosure of lodging rates and resort fees, introduced by Senators Brock, Balint, Ingalls, and Terenzini. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-208, an act relating to fair disclosure of lodging rates and resort fees.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Housing, Economic Development, and General Affairs. S-209, an act relating to reviving the Vermont Film Commission, introduced by Senators Brock, Balint, Collmore, and Ingalls. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-209, an act relating to reviving the Vermont Film Commission.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. S-210, an act relating to rental housing health and safety and affordable housing, introduced by Senators Sirotkin, Balint, Clarkson, and Rom Hinsdale. Please listen to the first reading of S-210.
S-210, an act relating to rental housing health and safety and affordable housing.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is further referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. S-211, an act relating to creating the Vermont Teaching Career Study Committee, introduced by Senator Campion. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-211, an act relating to creating the Vermont Teaching Careers Study Committee.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Education. S-212, an act relating to income-based education funding, introduced by Senator Polina and others. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-212, an act relating to income-based education funding.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Finance. S-213, an act relating to payment options at electric vehicle supply equipment, introduced by Senator Parent. Please listen to the first reading of S-213.
S-213, an act relating to payment options at electric vehicle supply equipment.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Transportation. S-214, an act relating to valuation of timeshare projects, introduced by Senator Wessman. Please listen to the first reading.
S-214, an act relating to valuation of timeshare projects.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Finance. S-215, an act relating to the cannabis wholesale gross receipts tax, introduced by Senator Wessman. Please listen to the first reading.
S-215, an act relating to the cannabis wholesale gross receipts tax.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Finance. S-216, an act relating to the definition of cider, introduced by Senator Wessman. Please listen to the first reading.
S-216, an act relating to the definition of cider.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. S-217, an act relating to authorizing satellite tasting rooms for malts and vinous beverage manufacturers, introduced by Senator Wessman. Please listen to the first reading.
S-217, an act relating to authorizing satellite tasting rooms for malt and vinous beverage manufacturers.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. S-218, an act relating to prohibiting public bodies from discouraging public participation based on race, introduced by Senators Brock, Collmore, Ingalls, Parent, and Terenzini. Please listen to the first reading of S-218.
An act relating, S-218, an act relating to prohibiting public bodies from discouraging public participation based on race.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Government Operations. S-219, an act relating to ensuring compliance with the U.S. and Vermont constitutions and the use of public funds for tuition in the dual enrollment program, introduced by Senator Campion. Please listen to the first reading of S-219.
S-219, an act relating to ensuring compliance with the U.S. and Vermont constitutions and the use of public funds for tuition and in the dual enrollment program.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill S-219 is referred to the Committee on Education. S-220, an act relating to state-paid deputy sheriffs, introduced by Senator Parent. Please listen to the first reading.
S-220, an act relating to state-paid deputy sheriffs.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Government Operations. S-221, an act relating to unemployment insurance benefits, introduced by Senators Sirotkin, Balint, Clarkson, Pearson, and Rom Hinsdale. Please listen to the first reading of S-221.
S-221, an act relating to unemployment insurance benefits.
You've heard the first reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. Our next bill is our committee bill, S-222, an act relating to authorizing temporary open meeting law procedures in response to COVID-19, introduced by the Committee on Government Operations. Please listen to a first reading of S-222.
S-222, an act relating to authorizing temporary open meeting law procedures in response to COVID-19.
Pursuant to the rules, because this is a committee bill, it will be placed on the calendar for notice. That concludes our bill introductions for today. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, pending entry on the notice calendar, I move that the rules be suspended and that S-222 be taken up for immediate consideration.
The senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and S-222 be taken up for immediate consideration. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute, senators. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you suspended the rules and will now take up S-222 for immediate consideration. We now have on the calendar S-222, a committee bill referring to the authorization of temporary open meeting law procedures in response to COVID-19, which was introduced today. Please listen to the second reading of S-222.
S-222, an act relating to authorizing temporary open meeting law procedures in response to COVID-19.
The senator from Washington, Senator Polina, is now recognized for an explanation on behalf of the Committee on Government Operations of the bill.
Thank you, Madam President. Appreciate it. I would remind folks that the Secretary has emailed this to members of the Senate, and it also appears on the Senate's overview page. As the name of the bill tells us, this bill reinstates the modifications to our open meeting laws that we've approved in the past, but which expired with this expiration of the state of emergency due to COVID-19. So we're basically just reinstating a number of measures that we had already approved in the past, but which then expired along with the emergency statement. The bill basically tells us that we want to be able to hold electronic meetings of a public body without designating a physical location and without requiring staff to be physically present at the location. And in the event of staffing shortages, extends the time limit for the posting of minutes of a meeting and allows us to post any meeting agenda or notice of a special meeting in 2 designated electronic locations in lieu of the 2 designated public places in the municipality. Section 1 basically is the legislative intent, which again talks about the need to make sure that public bodies can organize and hold open meetings in a manner that will protect the health and welfare of the public while providing access to the operations of government. Section 2 goes through those changes. basically says that members of a public body may attend a regular, special, or emergency meeting by electronic or other means without being physically present at a designated meeting location. And says they shall not be required to designate a physical meeting location where the public may attend. And the members and staff of the public body shall not be required to be physically present at a designated meeting location. We're basically reinstating the possibility of having fully remote meetings for municipal organizations and committees. When the public body does meet electronically under subsection A of this section, the public body shall use technology that permits the attendance of the public through electronic or other means and allows the public to access the meeting by telephone and shall post information that enables the public to directly access and participate in meetings electronically and include this information in a published agenda for the meeting. Unless otherwise under unusual circumstances make it possible, it goes on to say that each school board and each municipality that holds these meetings shall record its meetings and held pursuant to this section. In the event of a staffing shortage due to COVID-19, a public body may extend the time limit for the posting of minutes to no more than 10 days from the date of the meeting. It also talks about the fact that a municipal public body may post a meeting agenda or notice of a special meeting in 2 designated electronic locations in lieu of the 2 designated public places in the municipality, or a combination of a designated electronic location and a designated public place. The municipal body, public body shall post a notice or agenda in or near the municipal clerk's office and shall provide a copy to the newspapers of record in its community. This authority would be granted to the actual expired in January 15th of 2023. We talked about the possibility of having these measures expire sooner. We talked about doing it in the spring or in the summer, but we're not in session during those times. We thought with the unknowns about the COVID pandemic and not knowing what kind of state we'd be in by over the summer, we may decide that we want to keep these in place or stop them. And we decided that it would be better to make more sense to have them expire in January when the next legislature meets so that we can make a decision then about whether or not to continue them or whether or not to let them expire. So we're basically going to be supporting modifications to the open meetings law that we've approved in the past and have operated under in the past, but then we're expired with the expiration of the emergency state of emergency. So we would hope that the Senate would join us in reinstating these important measures to allow local communities and municipalities to meet in remote locations, meet remotely and not have to have a designated location. The committee voted 5-0-0 to support this bill, and we hope you'll join us in doing so. It's something that we feel is really important. And like the bill that we passed the other day, it's important that we move this quickly so that local communities, municipalities, boards, and commissions have a better understanding of what they're able to do during this time of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Chittenden, Senator Pearson, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I wonder if I might inquire of the presenter.
You may.
Thank you. Madam President, I support this bill. I think it's an important move, but I'm struck that, as we all know, particularly for our smaller municipal commissions, even select boards, it's more and more difficult to find volunteers willing to do that task. And my understanding is that it's been quite positive that for the last couple of years, these meetings have been remote. And so my question is sort of related to this bill. Would we anticipate some shift, or is the committee considering, at least for some level of municipal boards, to have this be more of a permanent option? I'm thinking of parents in particular who maybe can't commit to being at a night meeting a week, but could do it if remote is a more permanent option. So I'm just curious if the committee's considering that in a more ongoing way. And I want to be clear, I do support this bill for this temporary solution.
Sure, Madam President. This comes up a lot in our conversations in the Government Operations Committee. You're correct in reminding us that being able to operate remotely has actually increased participation in a lot of these committees and meetings around the state. And people have asked us if we would do this on a permanent basis. So I'm not going to say we are going to do it on a permanent basis, because there's questions involved in what that means in terms of down the road, in terms of open meeting laws. But it is definitely something that comes up in our committee, and it's something that we will continue to talk about. I'm not going to promise it's going to happen, but it's definitely something we're considering.
I appreciate that, Madam President. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? We see that Pro Tem is standing, but also the Senator from Washington. The Senator from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. May I inquire of the presenter of the bill?
You may.
Similar to the Senator from Chittenden question about participation, I think last year when we did this, but maybe it's a different bill where we waived signatures, in particular around these local offices for school board, getting 200 signatures during this surge. And I think the deadline is coming up in January. So I wondered if the committee discussed that, or if that's something that would be in another bill that would happen quickly, or if it's something that was discussed to add to this bill.
In terms of the signatures on petitions, that's something that we are thinking about. I could be wrong, but I believe it's actually on our agenda for later today, if we have time to deal with it later today. So it is something that we're going to take a look at as well. And if we do that one way or the other, we'll do it as quickly as we possibly can, obviously.
Yeah, the petitions are due January 24th, Madam President, but thank you.
The Senator from Windsor is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a vehicle for this, and they may be adding this in the House because this is clearly a need, and we talked about it, and we're hopeful that this will pass with speed so that we will have the signature thing changed. And I believe that and hope that the House will be addressing this.
And I see that the chair, thank you. And I see that the chair, the Senator from Windham has her hand up here. The Senator is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Polino was right. We will be taking this up in a separate bill this afternoon. We have decided not to rely on the House to do this. So we will be taking this up in a separate bill this afternoon, which we also anticipate moving very quickly, probably on Tuesday.
The Senator from Windham is recognized.
May I inquire of the reporter, Madam President?
You may.
Madam President, is there anything in this bill that compels a town to hold their meetings remotely?
No, Madam President, this bill it gives them the option of holding their meetings remotely. It's permissive, not directive.
Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of S 222. The Senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I move that we put S 222 through all remaining stages of passage.
The Senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and S 222 be placed in all remaining stages of passage. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Then the rules have been suspended and you've placed S 222 in all remaining stages of passage. We have now on the calendar for third reading S 222. Third reading was ordered today on January 7th. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of S 222.
S 222. An act relating to authorizing temporary open meeting law procedures in response to COVID-19.
The question now is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've now passed S 222. The Senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I move that the rules be suspended and that we message our action on S 222 to the House forthwith.
The Senator from Windham has moved that the rules be suspended and S 222 be messaged to the House forthwith. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
The Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've suspended the rules and now messaged S-222 to the House forthwith. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Pending announcements, I move that the Senate stand in adjournment until 9:30 Tuesday, January 11th.
The senator from Windham has moved that, subject to any announcements, the Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, January 11th at 9:30 a.m. Are there any announcements this morning? The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Government Operations will meet at 1 o'clock, and the Senate Reapportionment Committee, I believe it's called Reapportionment, not Redistricting Committee, will meet at 8 o'clock Wednesday morning.
Thank you. The senator from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Finance will meet at 1:30.
Thank you. The senator from Bennington, Senator Campion, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Education will meet at 1:30.
Thank you. The senator from Caledonia, Senator Benning, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. The Senate Institutions Committee will meet at 1:30.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements? Looking for hands. The senator, senior senator from Caledonia, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to confirm, Senate Appropriations will be meeting at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements? The senator from Windham has moved that the Senate adjourn until Tuesday, January 11th at 9:30. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, January 11th at 9:30 a.m.